Folks, if you like finance, look no further. Today's guest is a financial wizard with over a decade of experience within the industry. This gentleman worked at JP Morgan and AIG, servicing global hedge funds and major exchanges around the world. He specialized in high-frequency trading, asset management, risk management, and compliance. Present day, he's the director of financial markets at OKEx, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges on the planet. I am pleased to welcome to the Crypto News Podcast, Lennix Lai. Lennix, welcome to the show.
Hey, Matt. Thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
We are also very grateful to have you on board. I am really excited for this one. In preparation for the show, I did the classic, which is doing a nice long lurk of my guest, which involves a multitude of things, including the classic Twitter lurk, the YouTube lurk, all of their socials, LinkedIn, you name it. You have a very impressive background and can speak with incredible knowledge in traditional and new world finance, being crypto. But before we get into that, if you could just tell our guests a little bit about your background, a little bit about your past and how you got into crypto and blockchain, that would be absolutely lovely.
Yeah, sure. So I've been working in legacy financial industry for almost 9 years, covering mostly on economic research, quantitative trading, high-frequency trading, mostly on secondary trading markets, and that's one of my expertise. And another expertise is compliance. So back in 4 years ago, I'm already back in that time. I think I was very fascinated about the idea of integrating blockchain into security trading, because I think the legacy security settlement framework is a little bit too old school and to be a little bit too not exactly efficient. It would be a lot more efficient if we can integrate blockchain tech into security settlement, so that gives us an idea that we would like to. I would like to work in a company that can integrate blockchain tech with finance. So with the vision to substantially improve the efficiency of financial industry. So I grabbed the opportunities to join OKEx like back in 4 years ago. We were starting with a tiny little team, like 6 people on Hong Kong office. And right now we got 1,300 globally, covering the entire crypto space. It took us 4 years to there. We have a lot of story, but I would say it's a wonderful journey.
You have 1,300 employees now. Did I hear that right?
1,300.
That is insane. Wow. So OKEx, founded in 2014, I believe, originally based in China and now based out of Hong Kong. I've never been to Hong Kong. It's on the bucket list. The skyline looks absolutely incredible, world class. Tell me, if you don't mind me asking, why the move from China to Hong Kong?
Yeah, we were actually a pretty big platform in China back in 4 or 5 years ago, offering Bitcoin for a general Chinese public for them to buy or sell Bitcoin with local currency. Back in 4 years ago, we would like to offer this service globally. And we think that Hong Kong is the best place because it's very close to China. And secondly, Hong Kong is actually an international financial center. So naturally, they have a lot of financial expertise to improve our products. So we can easily hire a big team with financial expert and knowledge in Hong Kong to improve the products. And so that we have a lot of talents in Hong Kong as well. For speaking both language, having international experience, international vision, speaking English and Chinese at the same time. So I think we pick Hong Kong as the global hub for the entire global market. We start from there, and review all our satellite offers all over the place from Hong Kong.
That makes total sense. One of my favorite stats that I find absolutely astonishing about OKEx is that you guys have millions of users in over, I believe it's 110 countries now. That just seems like a marketing nightmare, dealing with a multitude of languages and having to leap through hoops with all these different countries and the regulations. How do you go about attracting users from different countries?
Yeah, still, I think up to now is still a nightmare. Not just in OKEx, but across all the others companies as well. So imagine we are just 4 years or 5 years old startup. So everything, the platform, we still have a lot to fix. But at the same time, you still need to service the group, all kind of different kind of users at the same time with the same product globally. It's always a challenge. But I think the challenge, not just on regulations. Regulation is one thing, obviously, and obviously regulation in crypto, especially most of the countries right now, most of the jurisdictions right now do not have a proper regulatory framework just on crypto. They're mostly taking a wait and see approaches on crypto related regulations. Some of them would like to learn about a lot more, so we have to keep dialogue at the same time for all kind of regulators all over the places. That's one challenge, obviously. Another challenge would be technological stack. So it's relatively difficult to build a product that you can support all kind of language, meaning that you have your UX, your UI have to support and consider all kind of texts with all kind of languages at the same time, and you have to be responsive to the language. So when you're a Korean user having Korean IP, visiting OKEx site from Korea, your site has to be adapted to local language, which is converted to local Korean. That's another thing in product side, and might be finally on the customer service, right? So cryptocurrency is a 24-hour, 7-day market. We trade, we open the business, even January 1. So we have no rest at all, including the customer service, the support, and tech stack, right? So and we have to cover the growth, 24 hours, 7. So it's pose huge challenge to a startup like us. So we have to employ a big group of customer service and KYC team and verification team and across everywhere in order to support different time zones globally. Never easy task.
Of course. No, you're bang on there. Crypto never sleeps, and 2, I guess that's why you got to hire 1,300 employees. Like,
correct.
It's so tough, especially being exchange, because there's so many of them out there right now that when a customer finally ends up choosing you and goes through that whole process, it's so easy for them to leave and so tough for you to keep them. And without a world-class customer support team, tech team, who's available for the customer at all times, it's fruitful for you, but it's extremely difficult to keep customers on board when there are so many different options, and when you have exchanges offering so much to new customers to come on board and join their exchange. But on top of the millions of users in over 100 countries that OKEx offers, you and the team also have hundreds of tokens available and hundreds of trading pairs, and is easily one of the leading crypto exchanges by volume. Now, one of the products that I'd love to get into later on is OKCoin, which is a brand targeted at sort of, more simple cryptocurrency exchanges and traders. But before we jump into that, I'd love to get to the nitty gritty and your bread and butter, which is the Bitcoin futures trading. Now, when I read this stat online, I was like, come on, this is crazy. OKEx trades over $1.5 billion in daily futures volume. That is absolute bananas. And apart from futures, you also offer margin, options, perpetual swaps, DeFi, lending, and mining services. It is a 360-degree exchange that offers everything from head to toe. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Bitcoin futures and how that turned out to be such a big success for you and the team?
Yeah, I think in terms of volume, recently we are even more because the cryptocurrency market is a lot better. Right now, I think we trade 5 billion USD notional per day in derivatives.
Wow.
So just to give a concept, I think we are bigger than many traditional stock exchanges already. Yeah, I think the bread and butter for OKEx is always Bitcoin futures. From day one, we are one of the pioneer on crypto derivatives like 4 years ago. Because natural futures or derivatives is risk management tools. We serve miners before, and you know that back in 4 years ago, we have a lot of Chinese miners, Bitcoin miners, I would say, that would like to hash their exposure on Bitcoin with derivatives, because Bitcoin is naturally a really volatile asset, so it can crash within 1 week for 50% or even 80%. So for Bitcoin miners, they are particularly worried back in 4 years ago on the volatility of Bitcoin. So they need to manage the risk. They need to make sure the Bitcoin that they mine is managed to cover the cost. I mean, the price of the Bitcoin is managed. It's going to be managed to cover all the costs of running, operating, mining operations. So in order to do that, they need derivative instruments like futures to hedge the volatility of Bitcoin. They just need to lock in their profits to make sure they need to pay the electricity bills, human overhead, or anything to operating a Bitcoin mining operation. So that is the beginning of OKEx Bitcoin futures. We know them. We understand that in this group of particular Bitcoin miners, we provide instruments for them to hedge the volatility of Bitcoin. That's the beginning. That's everything at the beginning. So right now, because after several years of developments, we got CME issue their Bitcoin futures. We got a lot more cryptocurrency Bitcoin derivative exchanges right now. So we can see the volatility of Bitcoin is actually lower with the implementation of derivatives. So actually I think is an improvement for the industry as a whole. We successfully drive down the overall general volatility of Bitcoin because of derivatives, I think. So right now, the bread and butter is having Bitcoin futures is one. Bitcoin futures and Bitcoin perpetual swap is one of the largest traded instruments across crypto industry. Sorry
to interrupt, Lennix. Can you please explain perpetual swaps to our listeners?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So futures, you probably might be heard of futures everywhere in non-crypto area. So we got gold futures, oil futures, NSP futures, everything related futures. It's actually a risk management. You can think of like just a risk management tools for managing risk for different underlying. If you want to manage the risk for copper, we want to manage the risk for oil because you're airline, you probably need futures to lock in your profit and manage the risk, just like Bitcoin. So that's right now is heavily traded in CME or all the other future exchange right now. Perpetual swap is a crypto-only innovation. It's localized futures, having a lot of similarity with futures as well, but they don't have expiry date. So it's more like more convenience for crypto retail trader, for mostly speculating the prices of Bitcoin or all kind of crypto. It's crypto only innovation. It's not particularly available on traditional finance. So right now, perpetual swap is one of the most heavy traded instruments in crypto industry.
Interesting. To explain to our listeners in very simple terms, just because again, it's incredibly hard to wrap your head around perpetual swaps. The fiat equivalent of perpetual swaps is FX futures, which would look something like if I own a business in the States and I am trading USD euro as I need to either buy or sell euros. Let's say that I believe Joe Biden and his team are going to print another couple trillion USD, which in theory should devalue the dollar. I could lock in the futures at a present date for a desired price in order to save myself some money and try to keep some of those profits, if that makes sense. That is similar to perpetual swaps, and again, a very unique case with crypto. Now, OKEx has incredible features like that for the big boy traders, for the professionals, a very, very complex system. For the average Joes and the noobs and the rookies who want to get in and join the OKEx family, you released a platform called OKCoin, which is more of a simple exchange. And I'd love to know how you guys went about bringing OKCoin to market, and tell me about the success of it.
Yeah. So the differences between OKEx and OKCoin. So OKEx is a global platform with 100 pairs and different kind of fancy derivative instruments. OKCoin, on the other hand, is a localized brand with its localized exchange servicing targeted regulatory regime, for example, like US. It offers simple solution for allowing US customers to buy or sell crypto in US dollar. So OKCoin actually got all the licensing required by the regulators in US so that they can legally accept fiat currency to buy or sell crypto Bitcoin. And everyone need to KYC in OKCoin platform. You can deposit and trade crypto with US dollar, euro, and withdraw back to your bank accounts. So right now we got OKCoin, and also we got OKCoin Japan as well. So the OK Japan serve only Japanese customer according to Japanese regulations. We're going to expand this regulated brands everywhere. So whenever they have a proper exchange license, we will go there. We will operate a local OKCoin brand to support to service local crypto traders.
You're really big on security too. I know that's one of the biggest selling points on OKCoin. While doing research for this episode, I never really knew about global server load balancing and distributed clusters until I read upon these on the OKEx website. Now, I could try to explain them to our listeners, but I would absolutely butcher that. So I will let you take a stab at this. If you could explain the importance of global server load balancing and distributed clusters in regards to security on crypto exchanges.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Operating an exchange is actually operating a marketplace. And actually particularly difficult. A marketplace, you need to maintain an orderly market at all time. But it's also very difficult because normally you have for such a big exchanges like OKEx who have 300 more like spot pairs, different kind of 100 pairs on derivatives. It's basically impossible to put everything into one matching engine. It's too big. It's just too big. There's not single matching engine that can handle all the trade within all different kind of product line. So we have to segregate. We have to split it into different matching engine. So that one matching engine will be matching trades for Bitcoin, another one will be matching trade for Ethereum, for example. Another matching engine would be matching trades for Bitcoin futures, for example. So we have to maintain hundreds of different kind of matching engine and server at the same time. The key word is we have to make sure they operate and communicate at the same time. That is called the load balancing and maintaining different kind of distributed cluster. This is one of the innovation on crypto exchange as well across the board. We have to find a way to operating 100 or even sometimes thousands of server on cloud. And at the same time, we need to enable them to communicate basically simultaneously. And so that they understand each other's at the same time. That is, in a technological perspective, that's quite an innovation because normally a stock exchanges would put all the server into a physical center, a physical data center with electricity and wire and stuff. But normally in crypto exchange, we don't run a physical data center. We put server on cloud. But at the same time, the differences between these two designs is physical server is a lot easier to communicate at the same time easily because they have human overhead. But on cloud, it's relatively more difficult. So what we're talking about distributed cluster and load balancing is we have to, in technological perspective, we have to let them to communicate within each other simultaneously at really, really low latency and high throughput because we need to accept billions of trade every day, right? So we have to allow them to have really high throughput and communicate with each other at the same time. I think that is the innovation for us, for also for crypto exchange that have been built for, I think, several years.
Whoever came up with that idea deserves a raise. Wow. That sounds pretty complex and quite impressive. A couple more things that I'd like to touch on the OKEx platform before we get into some of the fun topics like competing with other exchanges, crypto in China, Bitcoin, NFTs, and Bitcoin mining. One of my favorite parts about OKEx, probably my favorite part, is the cross-chain bridge and K tokens. This is another one. Whoever is the creator of this deserves a raise and a half. This is absolutely brilliant. Now, to my understanding, the cross-chain bridge allows you to transfer your crypto assets across different blockchains with zero loss using K tokens. I've had the problem so many times where I would love to transfer some Bitcoin over to Ethereum if I think that there is a shitcoin that's going to moon very quickly and I might not have any Ethereum locked and loaded ready to go, and it's a nightmare to make that happen. K tokens are crypto assets native to different blockchains like Ethereum, and their value is always 1-to-1. For example, 1 BTCK being a K token equals 1 BTC. Could you please explain what exactly is a cross-chain bridge, what are K tokens, and how they intertwine?
Yeah, sure. So OKEx believe in a world that we are going to having different kind of blockchain. We don't believe that there's only one Ethereum that can support everything in the entire blockchain ecosystem. So we think that in the future that got to be more different kind of blockchain serving different kind of purpose or having targeted customers or targeted ecosystem. So in that case, you have to find a way to communicate or transfer assets in a secure manner across different chains. So that is one of the challenges of right now the blockchain industry. So we have to make sure that those kind of assets sitting on one chain could be transferable to another chain and use it and on the other chain as well. Right now I think it's a common technological challenge in blockchain tech right now. So we think that we would probably build a bridge that allow you to transfer, which is Bitcoin is sitting on Bitcoin chain, Bitcoin protocol, Ethereum is sitting on Ethereum protocol, or all the other Bitcoin, all the other crypto might be sitting on Ethereum or the other chain as well, or the other protocol as well. So K token is basically an OKEx service for minting, or I would like to replicating the certain token which is just sitting on different kind of protocol, for example like Ethereum protocol, and converted or back by at a 1-to-1 ratio that allow you to transfer and trade and use on the other chain. You don't need to worry about losses. You don't need to worry about gas fee because everything is secure and collateralized on the OKEx platform first, and then allow you to use it on the other chain. So you don't need to worry about how to mint another tokens from chain A to chain B.
No gas fees is music to my ears. Heck, that's music to everyone's ears. That is, up until my research, which I started a couple of weeks ago, I would have loved to known this beforehand. Why don't you guys really go after the marketing aspect of the K tokens? Like, why doesn't the whole cryptoverse know about this? Or is that happening shortly?
We take it more like a gradual steps because the product we're still building is a big product we call it OKEx chain. The OKEx chain is a proprietary developed the public chain by OKEx. So I think we still have a lot of product features that we'd like to add on OKEx chain first. As probably next month, we will do a better push on marketing side on all the other aspects on the on-chain features.
Love that. This episode is brought to you by our dear friends at CoinPoker, the world's premier crypto poker platform. CoinPoker is a revolutionary blockchain technology-based platform that was developed by an ambitious team of poker players. CoinPoker uses USDT stablecoin as the main in-game currency and CHP as in-game fuel, offering all benefits of the crypto world alongside. CoinPoker also features instant and secure transactions using USDT, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or CHP tokens and no KYC. You heard that right, no KYC. CoinPoker users get huge promotions as they give away thousands in fiat each week. CHP is the currency of the CoinPoker economy, providing players with exclusive benefits and supports future developments delivered to the CoinPoker community. My favorite part about CoinPoker is the mobile app. When I'm on the go, I whip out my phone and play a couple hands of Texas Hold'em or bet on sports. They have an amazing sportsbook, really clean spreads, very clean UX, and an overall great time. If you'd like to check them out, go to coinpoker.com and give them a try. Lennix, one of the coolest parts about the OKEx platform is Jumpstart, which is the token sale platform. This has been a massive success, and I'd love if you could explain what exactly Jumpstart is and what does the future of this platform look like?
Sure. Jumpstart is one of the servers on OKEx. So the demand, which we're trying to solve the problem for projects to raise funds in public for OKEx users directly. So we see that some of the problem is like, hey, I'm a token, I'm a project. I would like to raise funds and would like to do public sales. So normally it's quite difficult because you have to pitch all kind of investor, institutional investor, private investor, or all kind of platform. And user have to go through different kind of route to participate in the public sales of that particular token. Sometimes the information or the website of the service provider might not be legit. So it's a relatively difficult. It's not an easy route for general users to directly participate public sales for certain tokens. So we think that OKEx can contribute on that front by first do a really thorough due diligence on the tokens that going to participate on Jumpstart. So what it means is actually, hey, I'm a token. I would like to raise funds on the OKEx platform to OKEx users. So what actually goes through is we have a really strong compliance team to go through all the details of the project, technological stack, the vision, the product, the team. Everyone has to be KYC'd and legal check whether the token would be considered as securities or not. We do all the dirty work for the users first. Then they can probably put on the blockchain, put on OKEx platform, and we would announce that to OKEx user, hey, we think that we finished the due diligence of certain token. That is what they're going to do. That's the product they're going to solve. That's a solution, and we're going to allow them. You're going to allow to participate public sales using OKEx account. So you have to, as a user, you have to be KYC first as well, because some of the public sales are not open to certain jurisdictions. Right? We make sure that everyone participating in public sales are completely legitimate and according to certain kind of legal regulations. So everyone needs to be KYC. So with KYC, you're allowed to participate public sales of certain token in a safe and regulated due diligence manner. So what actually the good part is, we consolidate the informations and do a proper due diligence for the user first to lower the risk for certain aspect, and make sure everything's legal, everything's proper, that before that they're allowed to be listed on OKEx. Another thing is we eliminate a lot of middlemen in between, because before that, for retail, for general public that would like to participate of different kind of public sales for certain token, you might be need to going through different layer of middlemen. So every middleman is a cost. So we don't want that. We eliminate a big part of the middleman so that the general users can capture all kind of profits or potential upside for the token itself.
That is a platform that I wish I knew about when I got into crypto a couple of years ago. It's always such a task navigating through the various websites, trying to find the next best altcoin and going through that ICO process, and having something like Jumpstart available would have been lovely, and one can only dream. I'd love to jump forward and get into some of the fun stuff. Now, to people like myself in North America, we often hear stories about Bitcoin mining in China and how there is no chance that any other country in the world can ever compete with China in regards to their prominence in the Bitcoin mining sector. From someone on the inside and from someone who actually markets to Bitcoin miners with your BTC futures and whatnot, could you tell me a little bit more about how far ahead China really is with Bitcoin mining and what America, Canada, where I'm from, or any other country can do to get a leg up on the competition?
Oh yeah, I think Canada and US is, I think in terms of mining operation, they're picking up really, really fast. So China is known to be, or historically, is actually pretty good in all aspects to operating a mining operation. So imagine if you're running a mining operation, you need a big area, a big space, right? And you need a lot of mining equipment to be assembled in a relatively cheap for those kind of components. So China right now is actually one of the big exporter for electricity components for not just mobile phone but all the mining equipment as well. So manufacture mining equipment historically actually is one of the edge in China as well. So on the other hand, you have to secure a good or relatively cheap electricity as well. So China is some of the area in China especially is having a relatively cheap electricity cost because they are operating in the renewable energy, for example, like wind power, hydro power. So you got all kind of advantage for running an operation, a mining operation in China. And they got a history as well. They're one of the really early adopter to operate a mining operation. And back in that time, like 5 or 6, even 6 years ago, the government in China is actually quite open and to encourage entrepreneurs to operate mining operations within different provinces in China. They give tax incentive or different kind of encourage incentive for them to operate a mining operation locally. So that's one thing. That's I would say the historical reason. That's why China mining power that dominated Bitcoin mining or proof of work mining operation. That's right. I think 2/3 at least. But right now we are seeing, at least this year, starting from last year, we are seeing a much more decentralized or the Chinese mining operators trying to be decentralized themselves to operate their mining operation outside China. And at the same time, US-based or Canada-based or even Russia-based mining operator is trying to catch up. So you can see the hash power, the hashing rates, with representing how many miners is contributing or participating in Bitcoin mining right now is hitting record high. So which means that everyone globally is putting a lot more resources to compete for that mining rewarded to mine Bitcoin. So a lot more people, a lot more miners globally. I think there will be several reasons. First, I would say the price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is actually really, really high compared like 5 or 6 years ago, like rent at 20 times, even 30 times more. So the operating a mining operation is actually quite expensive. You have to consider the cost of the mining equipment, the overhead of the people the space and also the electricity right now. So before it's not it's not really feasible to operate in US, Canada because it's relatively expensive. But right now with the Bitcoin price, right now it's actually becoming economical feasible. So cost is not particularly concerned right now. Electricity cost even a little bit more expensive than in China, or the equipment is a lot more expensive in China compared to China. It's okay right now if we can successfully get the Bitcoin block reward, because Bitcoin is really expensive at this particular moment. And on the other hand, China is actually canceling the mining operating incentive for running an operation in miners right now. So Chinese operators think that there might be a risk to continuing operating mining operation in China. So they tend to be more decentralized. So they're putting some of their mining operation outside China, maybe some of the Middle Asia, Kazakhstan, Russia, Indonesia, whatever. I think so that's why there's one of the operations that are outside China right now.
And what will happen if Bitcoin hits 300, 400, 500K in a couple of years? Are people going to be setting up mining rigs and at their grandma's house? Like what's that going to look like?
Oh, you cannot. I think mining operation right now is already heavily sophisticated. You have to having specialized equipment, specialized electricity management system or cooling system. You have to employ a technical team to continually upgrading or synchronize the Bitcoin network, operating different kind of softwares at the same time. And you have to secure the mining equipment itself. You have to think about as a cost. So that's why you have to continue operating, replacing, maintaining those kind of mining equipment. Normally, you need to have a lot of mining equipment to running at the same time in order to be economically feasible to successfully win or mine the Bitcoin. So mining equipment in your computer, a Bitcoin, at your grandma place, or in your garden place, it might not be feasible because right now it's heavily professional, sophisticated at the moment.
Got to have a pro setup. I love that. Let's do a couple hot take questions here. I'm very grateful for your time, and this has been a very informative episode so far. And it's nighttime for me, morning time for you. I know you need to get your day started. Let's talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum. What will happen first? Bitcoin hitting 100K or Ethereum hitting 5K?
As a matter of fact, I think they will go to equally happen. I think, but maybe I think Bitcoin first. Bitcoin hitting 100K first, then Ethereum follows in a short period of time. So Bitcoin is still the king of the crypto. It's representing the market. It's representing the sentiment of the overall crypto market. Ethereum obviously has a lot of ecosystem. There's a really vibrant ecosystem in place. The correlation within each other is really, really close. So with Bitcoin hitting 100K, Ethereum will very likely to follow.
If you were a university student, a new grad, and you were looking to get into the crypto investing space, you are a chiseled vet when it comes to trading, not just with the old school legacy financial markets, but also in crypto. Where are the best places to learn and teach yourself how to become a prominent and successful, or profitable for that matter, cryptocurrency trader?
Yeah, so just as all the other asset class, stock, futures, or any commodities or FX, so you have to understand what you're trading and buying, really in depth. So we have a really old saying that you cannot make money beyond your knowledge. So in a sense, you're making money or you're having profit according to your level of your knowledge. So I would recommend to start from Bitcoin all the time, because Bitcoin is like the beginning of crypto. You have to endorse the beauty, the design of Bitcoin. You're not talking about Bitcoin price or you have to understand the technology behind the Bitcoin. Then you're starting to understand why people love it. The core reason, the core rationale that everyone, that a lot of people is keeping to love Bitcoin, and having more regulators paying attention to Bitcoin right now. You have to understand the rationale behind. Then you're starting to understand the other design than Bitcoin, the alternative design than Bitcoin, for example, like Ethereum, for example, all the other REST token that's trying to solve all the other problem. So yeah, I would probably to ask the students to start with Bitcoin or the related tech that attach to the Bitcoin. Then you naturally have interest to trade, to understand, to trade the other crypto. And an additional piece of advice would be, don't add leverage at the very beginning before you understand that, because still crypto is really, really volatile compared with stock or the other asset class. So don't add leverage until you understand what's going on.
What he means by leverage, what Lennix means by leverage, is when you see that Bitcoin 3x or 5x or 10x, or if you're an absolute sicko, 100x, do not press that button unless you know exactly what you're getting into. Because if it goes for a little correction, that could be bad news bears and you could be in some very deep water.
Yeah.
Whenever you see an X with a number in front of it, that is for chiseled vets only. Lennix, this has been nothing short of incredible. I've learned so much, and I'm sure our listeners have as well. I'd love to get you on for round 2. There are still so many topics that we didn't even get to touch on. But before we go, where can we find you and OKEx on social media?
I think I have a Twitter, Lennix OKEx. So you can follow. I think we have my personal Twitters that contain all kind of information related to OKEx. OKEx got Twitters, we got Telegram that you can all follow and can communicate all the time.
Lovely. And folks, I will also include Lennix's personal social media handles as well as OKEx's website and social handles in the show notes. Lennix, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you jumping on, and I look forward to round 2. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, as it is morning for you. Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Matt. It's wonderful. It's fun. Thank you for having me.
All the best.